All right, now we'll come to the feet. Second thing that's beginning and ending of every session is called warm-up. Real simple, just warm up. Basic procedure, so simple. Don't make a big deal out of it. It's like taking a walk in the park, literally. It goes like this. Here's the pattern. Starting on the inside of the feet, it goes out, back. So far, so good. Up to the knees, palms circle on the knees, up to just below the pelvis, or just below the inguinal line of the pelvis, the soft inward flat part up here. Turn your hands out, rock on. With a breath, you exhale. Keep your hands soft, not hard hands. And then it comes back to the knees, circle the knees, back to the feet, on the inside of the feet, out, back, finish. All right, so that's the basic warm-up. Now, so the pattern, once again, is real simple. It's just here, out, back, up, circle, up, press, down, circle, down, out, back, finish. Okay, with me so far? Now, all I'm going to do here is palm press. So start with the hands up close enough that I don't have to reach to get on top of the feet. I'm not going to push. I'm just going to rock my body. So I shift my center of gravity. I pressure. And I keep my hand relaxed. So I'm not gripping or squeezing or grinding or trying to create any kind of pressure. I'm just literally mushing. You know, we always say we don't pinch, poke. We perch. We lean. We perch. Because we're using gravity. There goes here. 1, 2. And as I move from point to point, I take nice big steps about the width of my hand. And I just move my hand enough, lift it enough to slide to the next point. So I'm not going like this. I would call this padding. Okay, so it's not padding. It's just, I literally just kind of slip from point to point. Now, because my hands are big, it only is 2 or 3 steps to cover the whole foot. But I want to make sure that I get on the inside of the heel too. See how I just rock here? And there's this nice firm pressure. Now, the warm-up is considered to be grounding and centering, which is why we do it at the beginning of every session. The reason it's grounding and centering is because the lines on the inside of the leg, on the medial leg to the medial foot, are called female lines. They're the yin lines or female lines. Every body part has a male part and a female part. So if I cut this leg in half with an imaginary line from hip to foot, everything lateral of that line is male, and everything medial of that line is female. So you could say yang, you could say yin also. But literally though, in Thai, it's pu yin or pu chai, which is female and male. Okay? The female lines relate to the lower chakras, the 3 lower chakras, which relate to the earth. So any energy that you bring to a female line is sedating, it's calming, it's grounding, it's centered. The same pressure on the yang line is actually stimulating. It's actually tonifying. It actually moves the energy up, okay? Just because of the position of the lines and the body part, right? So there's a big difference between male and female body parts, okay? So, isn't that a good thing? It's a good thing there's differences between all the parts, right? But this idea, this is important. The idea of yin and yang, the idea of male and female, and you can extrapolate this as far as you like to go with it. It is the engine that drives energy. What's the motor that makes energy move? It's called polarity. Polarity is the interaction between eccentric and concentric forces. So between male force, male energy, okay, and female energy, the push and pull between them is actually what drives the energy, okay? So it drives the energy within us, it drives the energy between our lines, it drives the energies in our chakras, it drives the energies between us. The push and pull, the friction, the resistance and interaction between the male and female energies, that is the force of life. Okay? So if you want to read some really deep psychology about this, grab one of my books by Wilhelm Reich over here and look at the engine that drives all metabolic process as the concentric and eccentric push and pull between the male and the female energies. Now it starts at the level, and then goes on until we're adult people in society, and we're still pushing and pulling, okay? Now, so I'm going to palm press out, palm press back until I come to the center, and then keeping my fingers pointing toward the navel, okay? I'm clearly on the female side of the leg, so I don't wrap the leg, clearly on the medial leg. Nice big steps, nice easy soft hand, walk up to the knees, cup the patella, the kneecaps in big sloppy circles, okay? The definition of a big sloppy circle is I'm doing a circle on her knee but her nose is going up and down. That's not very specific, okay? There's such a thing as a specific technique, like I could work a point on her foot and nose didn't move at all, okay? So a sloppy technique is one where I'm kind of working on her kneecap but her nose is moving, That's what we want. That's called it. Those kinds of techniques are called dispersal or sedation techniques. They release energy. They don't gather it into the point. They scatter anything that's there. And joints are always vulnerable for, well, not just stagnation. I'll say it this way. The greatest opportunity for gain or loss of energy in the body occurs at the joint. The greatest opportunity for exchange of circulation, for an increase or release of energy, occurs in or immediately around the joint. That's why joints are strong. It's also why joints are vulnerable. It's why most diseases occur in or around or near a joint. It's why arthritis only occurs in the joints. It's why, it's because that's where the greatest potential for circulation, increase, decrease, energy, increase, decrease, structural increase, decrease, happens around the joints. So one of the definitions of Thai is we're a system of bringing energy to the joints. To release them if they're too tight, but also, what if it's too loose? What if it's hypotonic? Okay, instead of hypertonic, what if it's hypotonic? Well, we need to pull that joint back together. We need to encourage the ligaments and the structure and the tissue to actually tighten up, right? Because otherwise, you lose stability. Lose function either from too tight or too loose. Okay. Now, once I have big sloppy circles here, and then I'm going to palm walk up nice and easy, and this line, which is easy to see on these pants, we call it either it's medically called the inguinal line because the inguinal ligament is there. That's a huge ligament that rides on the front of the pelvis, as big around as my thumb. So it's pretty apparent that you can feel it here. But it's also quite sensitive. You poke on it and people tend to kick you. Okay, it tends to be sensitive. Everything above that line is groin, abdomen. Everything below that line is thigh and leg. All right? The area where we're going to press, which we call a Wingate or loam, L-O-M, okay, is the upper inner flat area here, sometimes referred to as the femoral triangle. Okay? So if you feel like you're on the muscle, you're too far lateral. Okay? If you feel like you're collapsing into the groin, you're too far medial. If you're on the bone, you're too high. You want to be, it's like the three bears kind of thing. You got to be right in the middle there. All right? Once you're there, keep your hands soft. You don't have to squeeze to push. Okay? In fact, don't. I'm just using my body weight. I'm not squeezing my hand. In fact, I'm trying to keep my hand